Back to basics. How do you use a multimeter to determine if a bipolar junction transistor is an NPN transistor or a PNP transistor? To use your multimeter to do that, you will have to set the multimeter. What you will do first is to set the multimeter to diode test. To do that, you will turn the knob of the multimeter to this position if you are using this type of multimeter. This is the diode test position. And then you will set your probes to the appropriate position. Here is where you will plug the red probe, and here is where you will plug the black probe. Now we are ready to use this multimeter to test if a bipolar junction transistor is an NPN transistor or a PNP transistor. Before we proceed with the test, you should know that a bipolar junction transistor, whether the PNP or the NPN, has three legs: the base, the collector, and the emitter. So let's proceed with the test. Here, I have two power transistors, the TIP41 and the TIP42. So let's use a multimeter to determine which of these transistors is an NPN transistor and which one is a PNP transistor. So let us test if this bipolar junction transistor is an NPN transistor. To do that, what I will do is to place the red probe, which is the positive probe of my multimeter, on any of the three legs of the transistor. And then I will touch the other two legs with the black probe. And the measurements I will obtain on the meter will tell me whether this transistor is an NPN transistor or a PNP transistor. So let's do that. I'll place my red probe here, and I will place the black probe here. And what do I have? Nothing. I will move the black probe from this leg to this leg. What do I have? Nothing. Okay, so I will move the red probe from this leg to another leg. I'll place it here, and I will touch the other legs with the black probe. I will touch this one, and what do I have? Nothing. And then I will touch this one, and what do I have? I got something, 0.61 volts. But that is only for this. I did not get it when I touched this. So I did not get two readings, hence I have to proceed to further test. Then I will place the red probe on this third leg, and I will touch this leg. What did I get? Nothing. And I will touch it here. What did I get? I got something. But I only got something when I placed the probe here, and I did not get something when I placed the probe here. So because I did not get two readings when I placed the black probes on the two different legs, this transistor is not an NPN transistor. Remember that as we are testing to know if this transistor is NPN, we made reference to this red probe. So because we made reference to this red probe and we tested the three legs and we did not get two different readings, it means that this transistor is not an NPN transistor. Now let us test to know whether it is a PNP transistor. What I will do now is I will switch the probes. I will now make reference to the black probe. I will place the black probe on one of the legs, and I will place the red probe on the other two legs, one after the other. So I'll place the red probe here, and what do I have? 0.610 volts. That's for the first leg. And then the second leg, I place it, and what do I have? 0.612. So when I place the probe here, I got a reading. And when I place the probe here, I also got a reading. Now you can see that I got readings for the two events. Hence, this transistor is a PNP transistor. And how do I know which leg is the base, the collector, and the emitter? Well, the leg that served as a reference is the base. And the leg which when I tested, I got the least results or the least value is the collector. So here I measured 0.610 volts, and here I measured 0.612 volts. This one that has the lower value is the collector, while this one that has the higher value is the emitter. This is because the collector base junction has lesser doping than the emitter base junction. So in this transistor, we have it to be a PNP transistor having a P configuration of base, collector, emitter. Base, collector, emitter. That is for this transistor. And this is a power transistor type 42C power transistor. Let's test for this other transistor. So this transistor is tip 41C. Tip 41C. It is also a power transistor, a bipolar junction power transistor. So to test whether this transistor is NPN or PNP, for this one, let me start with the black probe as a reference. So I'll place the black probe on any of the legs, and I will start touching the other legs with the red probe. So I will touch this one, and what do we have? Nothing. I will touch this one, and what do we have? Nothing. Then I will move the reference probe to another leg. Let me place it here, and then I will check. What do we have? Nothing. Then I will move the red probe here, and what do we have? We have 0.609. Okay, that is the result. However, that is only when we place the red probe here. When we place the red probe here, we got nothing. Then I will proceed to moving the black probe to the other leg to check. I'll place it here and check. What do we have? Nothing. I will check this one. What do we have? 0.611 volts. So when I place the red probe here, I got a result. But when I place the red probe here, I did not get any result. So this is not a PNP transistor. It is definitely an NPN transistor. But to confirm, I will switch the probes. I will use the red probe as a reference, and I will place it on one of the three legs. So I will place the probe here, and I will check. What do I have? 0.609 volts. And I will move the black probe to the other leg. And what do I have? 0.611 volts. So when I placed the black probe here, I got a result. And when I placed the black probe here, I also got a result. That confirms that this transistor is an NPN transistor. Then the leg that served as a reference for our test, which is this leg, is the base. These other two legs will give us the collector and the emitter. But how do we determine the leg that is the collector and the leg that is the emitter? Well, we will check the value we obtained. When we place the probe here, we got 0.609 volts. And when we place the probe here, we got 0.611 volts. The leg that has the lesser value is the collector, while the leg that has the higher value is the emitter. So this is the emitter and this is the collector. The reason being that the collector-based junction has lesser doping than the emitter-based junction. So this is an NPN bipolar junction transistor having a pin configuration of base, collector, emitter. So that is how you use a multimeter to determine whether a bipolar junction transistor is an NPN transistor or a PNP transistor. See you in the next tutorial. Until then, keep learning. Bye.